also were active in the infiltration of many cultural groups. Before we go into that step by step, how much research and study did the FBI engage in of black culture in the late 60s?
A great amount.
Give me an idea.
For the thing is, I can, they have a file on every type of magazine that blacks read. They have a file on the music, dance, theater, actors, comedians, you name it, man.
And they would actually study these?
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely.
What would they do with music?
To understand the people, you have to understand the culture. To infiltrate, you have to understand.
When you see my next album, God Made Dirt, and Dirt Don't Hurt Baby Jesus, then you're going to see what's really real and what's going to happen. And that's how I know how I feel. To me, it's like everybody's scared of the government, you know what I'm saying? Because they killed Tupac and they killed Biggie Smalls. I don't care what y'all say. That's my saying. Who cares? I'm just letting y'all know, y'all can be afraid of the government all y'all want to. Y'all been afraid of the government for 29 years. Y'all ain't telling me I was Jesus, so it's okay. I love you. Don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just letting y'all know all that afraid of the government stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's dead in my life, man, because I got special things to put on people. You know what I'm saying?
Like almost everybody here does, unless you're Native American.
The Indians don't really get too along with the firewood. It's okay. I love you. Don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just letting y'all know all that afraid of the government stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's dead in my life, man, because I got special things to put on people. You know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong, I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be real, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Don't play no games. This ain't no games no more. Alright? You're gonna be real, keep it real.
If you come from a family of immigrants, like almost everybody here does, unless you're Native American.
The Indians don't really get too along with the firewater and, you know.
Are you an Indian?
Yes.
Are you an Indian?
Yes.
Oh, really? I thought you were a black guy. I thought you were a black guy.
Hey, you're Indian? Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, you gotta be kidding.
Many so-called African-American families, including mine, have been told that they were mixed with Indian. Many can trace their so-called Indian or Native American descent, but cannot trace their African descent.
You're Indian? Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, you gotta be
What kind of
kidding.
Indian are you?
Like Tonto Indian? Shinnecock Indian.
Really? You're a Shinnecock?
Yes.
Oh, you're a Shinnecock. Yeah, could have fooled me.
That's the kind I am. Hey.
So you should be Big Cheese Bastard now.
The drugs, the crime, the poverty. These were tough neighborhoods, but there were also places where his family had been for countless generations. In fact, Dirty could trace his lineage back to a time when there was no New York City, just the wilderness of North America.
His family was here when Columbus landed, huh?
Is that right? Yes. Is that right? Yes.
So you were not a black man, you're an Indian.
I'm Indian.
So you were not a black man, you're an Indian.
I'm Indian.
My great-grandfather was an Indian chief, Shinnecock, for the Shinnecock Reservation in Long Island, Riverhead. So that's where my mother met my father in Long Island. Dirty just counted his heritage to the limit. You know, we're Indians. I said, and they used to say, yeah, we Indians, we sold Manhattan. I said, well, listen, they sold Manhattan for trinkets. So he always said, well, we're going to try to get it back. I said, Rusty, please. We're not getting it back. Forget it.
The Indian that sold Manhattan to the white and my grandfather said, but they did not fight the fuck out.
Yeah, he started mentioning it.
What up? Just making this live real quick. I made a video, you know what I'm saying, asking the question if, you know, so-called black Americans is of African or Indian descent. Like I was told, my family is, you know, both African and Indian, but, you know, this is not India, so they say Native American, you feel me? Oh, they always hating on my live. I don't know why they keep turning my live off. I had the effect and all that on there. Wait, hold on. Let me find. All right, yeah. But like I was saying, I made this video. You know, I've been studying my family lineage and all that. But I can't find no evidence of my family coming from no slaves in Africa or from African descent. And, you know, as far as the whole Indian, like, my family say we have Indian, but this is not India. It's not even the West Indies. Like, Columbus never came to where my family is from, so I don't know how they was called Indian. You feel me? So, you know, I made this video. I'm gonna put the link in the description, you know, explaining how, you know, the natives over here was called Negro, and, you know, they was called Indian, and then they was called African American. Like, in order to vote, like, some Indians couldn't vote unless, you know, they classified themselves as African or African American. So this part right here is talking about, like, you know, Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang, how he was explaining, you know, how his family is Shinnecock Indian. You know what I'm saying?
Dad, he said he got a grandfather coffee, cheap coffee. Don't take you to cheap coffee. Him and his brothers, Fred Cuffy and them, they were some wild boys back in the day. The Bowling Green with the moonlight in the street. That Wall Street, you know why that name Wall Street was a wall they built there. Indians behind one end of the wall, while the Dutchmen who came in controlled any business on the other side of the wall. Wickham Cuffy, man. That's my grandfather. Wickham.
Learn all that you can from these people. But never forget who you are. Never forget you have your own language, your own religion, and your own way of acceptance.
In Rhode Island, some citizens who did not own property had to wait until 1928 before they were granted voting rights. But 3 groups were still officially barred by state law from casting a ballot: paupers, the mentally incompetent, and Indians. The only way the Narragansetts could participate in elections was by identifying themselves as African Americans.
If it took 30
You see what I'm saying? So, like, those people was called Narragansett Indians, and the only way they could vote was to classify themselves as African American. You feel me? So, you know, Indians or so-called American Indians or Native Americans was classified as African Americans. You feel me? I'm not saying all. I don't know. You know, everybody's family is different. But even, you know, the story of how they brought the slaves over in the ships, like, it don't add up. And, like, we don't even, where's all the slave ships? If they brought millions of people over here on slave ships, what they do with the ships? You feel what I'm saying? Like, they found Noah's Ark, or so-called Noah's Ark, in what they now call Turkey, but they can't find no slave ships. Feel me? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But I'm putting all my lives, like, under live in my playlist. I'm not leaving them public. So if you want to check out my other lives, you know what I'm saying, you can check it out.
days for a ship to go from Africa to here. And let's say he got 200 on the ship. 200 times the 30 days plus supplies. How many ships would he need to bring 100 million niggas over here to North America? There's no way that story can fan out. 2, black people have always been in North America. There has never been a time when the black man was not on the shores of North America. Who are you calling the black man? Who am I calling? Hey, Reggie, I know you didn't. Answer me. Me. The ones who you call the Native Americans were black. Well, you know what? You got Asiatic Indians who are not black. You got the black Indians who are black.
You hear what I just said?
Yes.
There's some Indians who are black.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we must remember that history and what we've been taught came from the imaginations of the so-called white colonizers of the New World. Native Americans were imagined to be Indians and were called black like Ethiopians.
So you gotta remember too, like at one time all so-called black people were called Ethiopians. You feel me? Like, and you know, as far as Africa, like it was separate. Like you had Ethiopia, then you had Libya, which is Africa. You feel me? Like those were separate. Now is, you know, they put it all together and they created Europe and all that. But this is from what we've been told in history. So you have Berbers in what is, you know, Africa. Like they call it North Africa now, I guess. You feel me? And some Berbers are so-called white. So they're native to Africa. That's where you get the word barbarian from, Berber. You know, Barbary. That's where you get, you know, the pirates and all that. That's a whole nother thing. But my whole thing is, you know, some Berbers was, you know, Muslims, Ottomans, and they put the Slavic people under bondage. So that's where the word slave come from. Like a slave is a Slavic person in bondage. And people who lived amongst the Slavs were also, you know, called Slavs. You know, and some of them is, you know, they cut me off again. But like I said, slavery comes from the old world, which is, you know what I'm saying, Africa, Asia, and Europe. And so-called white people also come from the old world. And that's where they native to, the old world. But there's no evidence of so-called white people being native to the new world, which we call the Americas, Caribbeans, etc. You feel what I'm saying? But it's evidence of so-called black people being native and aboriginal to the new world. So there's a lot of things, man. But I got the video, you know, it's time to, you know, it's just time to have another look at things, man. Take another look. You know, we gonna leave those who have children, you know, gonna leave behind children. And, you know, they have, you know, we have to get, I wish somebody would have gave me this information. You feel what I'm saying? When I was young. So it's just a different perspective. We've been lied to so long. You feel me? The fact is, you know, people from the old world colonized the new world, you know what I'm saying? And those are the people in power. We under foreign occupation. You feel me? But, you know, I ain't on no revolution shit and all that. Like, it's just education. You feel me? The way we've been taught, like racism is a mental illness. There's only one race. But everybody got to know, you know, you got to know where you came from, man, to know where we going. But anyway, I think I'm going to chalk this live up real quick. I just wanted to play this little
Ethiopians
video.
in East Europe.
Malcolm X revealed some very vital, unconventional details on what Negroes, or rather African Americans, were truly considered to be as a nationality of race prior to being called or labeled a Negro.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives. They're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't let them be called aborigines.
Malcolm X stated that the rock landed on us after he returned across the waters because he learned new things. He learned that the rock had truly landed on us and that we were from these lands.
so-called American Indians were indigenous or aboriginal to the New World.
I always talking about my country. White people, this ain't y'all country. Y'all annexed it. You stole it from the Indians. I know you said you discovered it. You know how to use them slick ass words. We discovered it. How you discover some shit a motherfucker already live in? Using that analogy, when I get on stage, I'm gonna discover somebody's car. Police like, did you steal it? No, I discovered it. I gave the indigenous driver a reservation in the trunk.
Martin Luther King Jr. also stated in his I Have a Dream speech that we are held in exile in our own homeland.
The Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land.
Native Americans were also